So everyone, and welcome to more How Good Are. Today we're gonna talk about some of the supporting cast of Mario Record, and we're gonna start out with the amazing Sayuki right here, who is indeed a support type with 2 Excelis, 2 charge discs. As you might expect, of course, once again from a support type, stats not gonna be that great. Her HP is somewhat alright, but her attack is at least over 10,000, and defense. None of these stats are terrible, but none of these stats are good either. They're just sort of there. What about her personal? Her personal is... It doesn't do much. It's like, whatever. Her connect, though, as a support, of course, her connect must be pretty interesting, right? It gives attack up, it gives Excel and gain up. 50% Excel and gain up is quite a lot. If you play her on an Excel team, which you probably will, especially if you play Kimochi, you'll probably play her on a Kimochi team that uses Magia, and so... having 50% XLMP gain up is actually quite fine, and for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason, she gives 2.5% more attack up on her connect than basically anyone else. I still don't know why, she just does that. More importantly though, if you play her on a Magia team and you help other people get to Magia, you help yourself get to Magia by having other people probably give you some Magia, some MP, you're gonna use that Magia, and what does it do? Well, it damages all enemies. What does it matter? Too much for support? Not that much. More importantly, and this is basically the main reason why anyone plays Sayuki, especially in Kimochi, is she gives everyone an attack up 30% at Magia level 5. Yay, for 5 turns. And this is the important bit. For 5 turns. If you use this once at the very beginning, in the very first turn of a Kimochi, it lasts you all the way until 1 turn before the final turn. And then if you use it on the second turn, you basically got 4 out of your 6 turns. 4 out of the 6 turns that you're fighting, you're gonna have 60% attack up already. And that is pretty darn good. And it only takes 2 Magia, which on a full Magia team is not actually that hard to do just 2 Magias in 6 turns. Not to mention that, of course, you can end a Kimochi battle with some MP, and then that MP will carry over into the next Kimochi battle, in case you guys didn't know that. What else does it do? Defense up. Well, I guess if you're playing Kimochi, defense up won't really matter too much. Characters don't usually die against Kimochi, especially because if you have a character like Sayuki, or most supports, a lot of supports just in general happen to have some sort of defensive buff or some heal or whatever on their Magia as well, like Sayuki, so you'll just naturally gain a bunch of defensives or health or whatever to not die against Kimochi, so you're not gonna have to worry about dying against Kimochi. But yeah, I guess there's a defense up on here. What else to do? Does aim resistance up. Most Kimochi, if not all Kimochi that I know, don't have any like terrible status ailments that would screw you over. There might have been like the very first or the very second one that might have done Magia Seal, but apart from that, it's maybe like a poison, potentially a curse, but nothing that will kill you or completely stop you in your tracks. And I mean, even if it was something like a Dazzle, you use Magia for damage anyway, and Magia can't miss, so yeah. And I'm talking mostly about Kimochi because this is the prime situation where you would use Sayuki, where you know that you can play a Magia team that can set up, and more importantly, a team where once you use your Magia, your buffs, especially the attack buff, actually lasts like the 5 turns that it says it does. Like, the thing is, what is good about her is that her attack up lasts 5 turns, while if you look at other characters like Manaka, for example, she gives like 40% attack up on her Magia, but it lasts only 3 turns. In most cases, Manaka would actually be better, because if you're playing a PvE fight and you've got a boss in front of you, and you have that Magia set up, where you actually get to use Magia, probably multiple people using their Magia, that fight is not going to last more than 3 turns after that point. But with Kimochi, it definitely is going to last 5 more turns. It's going to last a total of 6 turns, if you use this on turn 1, this Magia, so it's nice to have a buff for that longer period of time. That is really good. So that's basically the main reason why you play her, but of course you just have Spirit Enhancement. Let's talk about the Spirit Enhancement. It has damage cut for some reason. I guess it's to stay alive a bit longer, fine. It's got Magia damage, otherwise you would expect some XLP gain up, some charge disc damage up. You're not going to really deal much damage with her anyway. I mean, her attack stat isn't too bad, but you're mainly going to play her for that attack buff from her Magia, so actual damage isn't going to be a concern of yours. What else does it do? Well, look at that. It's Defense Pierce. Who cares? Anti-skill seal, that's important, especially on supports, and skill quicken as well. You always want to have these 2 effects on supports. However, I would have also kind of enjoyed there to be a status aim and resistance on her, just generally, not for Kimochi, but just in generally. It's nice to have status aim and resistance on your characters, and supports usually have that, not her, for some reason. But she does instead have MP gauge increased on battle start, which is 30 MP if you have Mag level 5. Which is really good, especially if you're playing once again Kimochi, because of course on Kimochi you keep starting new battles, and so you keep getting this 30 MP. That helps out quite a lot. She's amazing. Her active cleanses all debuffs from herself, and also gives all allies a buff that will absorb the next 2 debuffs casted them. However, it seems like that buff will only last 1 turn. So only for 1 turn will it absorb these 2 debuffs, and if it doesn't absorb 2 debuffs, it just goes away next turn, so that doesn't look nice. So overall, she's a pretty decent support. She's got a bunch of nice stuff here and there. She can boost Excel and Begin up in a Magia team. For some reason, got the extra attack up on here. Her Magia is pretty good, especially in Kimochi, where she can buff everyone's attack by a bit more. It's got a bit of a defensive side to her as well. She doesn't have anything about her, though, that is, like, completely groundbreaking or will win you the game or something like that. She's just decent and alright, okay? She's not really that bad, but she's not really that amazingly awesome either. Like, on a scale from 0 to 100, not quite 50, but like 70 or something. Yeah. What else do we have? Well, this one right here, this Kokoro, one of the, how did I call them? The land and sea lesbians? Because Kokoro is like a mountain climber, but Masada is like a professional swimmer. She does that. It's like the land and sea lesbians. So she, of course, is one of the best tanks in the entire game. Probably already know that. I'm going to very quickly talk about her personal. Gives damage cut to self. Well, if Kokoro actually gets attacked, which you might with other Memoria that give Provoke, for example, or Guardian, then this would be really good to make sure you take even less damage. But nothing too special. Not really that anything too special here. Rather simple Memoria. What else does she have? Well, her attack stat is abysmal, but what does it matter? Because she has 14.7 thousand defense and 35.6 thousand HP. The HP is not that amazing, but oh my god, that defense is so goddamn high. One of the highest defense stats in the entire game. Amazing. Now, if we look at her connect, it gives damage cut 70% and 100% chance to counter. This right here is absolutely terrible. This is one of the worst connects in the entire game. Because first off, it does absolutely nothing, if the target you're connecting to doesn't even get hit. And guess what? If you're playing Kokoro, you're probably playing her with Provoke and Guardian Memoria, and she even has Provoke passively. So, even if you give this to someone else, Kokoro might just provoke off of them anyway, and they might not even get hit, even if they were getting targeted. So first off, they have to get targeted. Kokoro has to not provoke or Guardian that hit, and then they take less damage and counter. And I mean, first off, just the fact that this even does anything is already a rather small chance, an insignificant chance, and even when it does something, it's only taking less damage and countering, which isn't actually that amazing. This, like, even when it works, it doesn't do a whole lot. This is easily one of the worst connects in the entire game. It was like the top 10 worst connects in the game. She probably made like number 5 or something, number 4 even, I don't know. There's some worse ones out there, but oh my god, this one's bad. But that's okay though, because I guess you're playing her for what she does and not what she can give to others specifically. What about her Magia though? It damages one enemy. It also has a chance to counter to all allies. 3 turns, 30%. I mean, counter is like, it's fine, it's a little bit extra damage, but it's still not a whole lot. It's still just a tiny bit, which it's not bad. It's not particularly great either. It's just, yeah, okay. What else does it do? Damage cut to all allies. Oh my god, look at that. It gives a grand total of 47.5% damage cut. If you use this twice, you're almost almost capped on damage cut on every single person. Everyone who by themselves already has 10% is getting capped by this. So that is actually pretty amazing. Also, actually, no, it's not actually capped because you can go above 100% with damage cut. However, you can only go to minus 5%. Yeah, whatever. Point is, this is pretty good. However, we need to ask ourselves, how quickly are we getting to Magia with Kokoro? And I guess something else you might need to ask ourselves is how many other characters can actually do that. So actually I have the page for this open. Who else can do that? Well, Sana can do that. Maruka does that, of course. Little Kyubey does that. Also Maruka does that. Tsumugi does that. And I guess whoever this terrible character is also does that. So quite a bunch of characters that are part of the meta that actually get played do it. Most notably Madoka, Little Kyubey, and also Madoka. Those are characters that are very deeply entrenched in the game's meta, I would say, and they all do that. And they all are able to sling Magia out really quickly. Like Madoka, of course, is a MP generator. Also, Madoka has 2 Excel discs, and it generates like, what is it, like 9 MP every turn, which is kind of absurd. So both Madokas get quite a lot of MP, and Little Kyubey, I think, also regenerates a tiny bit of MP per turn, and also gets MP per blast tile hit. So all these characters can spam out Magia, and they all stack this as well. How fast can Kokoro get out Magia? Well, she has 2 Excel discs and 2 charge discs, which doesn't sound that bad. If she has like at least 1 or 2 Excel MP gain up nodes or MP gain up nodes, she's going to be able to at least use Magia somewhat decently, but guess what? She has none of those. She might be, actually, I'm not quite sure, but she might be the only character in the entire game that doesn't get a single Excel MP gain up or MP gain up. I mean, I'm not counting the MP gain up over 100 because everyone has that. So, what? Why? May I remind you that even most blast gorillas get like 7 to 10% of MP gain up and like a 15% Excel MP gain up on top of that. Most blast gorillas get that. She has 2 Excel discs, she gets neither of those. But for some reason Magia damage up, even though, what? So she doesn't actually get to Magia that fast, I guess. On the other hand, she can provoke, and if you're playing as a tank, you're probably going to play her with Memoria that provoke a Guardian as well, like passively, or maybe even actively. And if you get hit, you of course also generate some MP. And I guess you kind of have to worry about getting hit enough so that you generate enough MP to get to Magia. That is all rather weird. Why not just, like, you know, have some MP bonuses in here, which there aren't. That kind of sucks. And to be honest, like I said, with the damage cut, there's other characters that are able to sling out Magias a lot faster, that are a deeper part of the meta. Use those instead. But I guess if you have to use Kokoro to get a damage cut buff out on everyone, fine. What else do we have? Well, we have on PvE quests, we get a one-time Endure. That's awesome. We can stun on attack. We take 15% less damage from blast discs. Awesome. As we have a 20% chance to counter. All this stuff is actually totally fine. It's decent, it's good, and the active gives damage cut to everyone. Hey, that's pretty good. That's pretty alright. So overall, Kokoro is rather tanky herself. She's really tanky. She got the damage cut 10% here, 15% blast damage cut right here. She's got that really high defense and all that stuff. So she is tanky herself. She can give the entire team damage cut with her active. That's fine. So she's able to protect herself and to some degree protect the team. That's all really fine. However, on the flip side, she herself, when she gets discs, does basically nothing. Her attack is terrible. When you've gotten her discs and you connect, her connect is terrible, and her Magia, it's not that hard, it's not that easy to get to. It's single target, and apart from the damage cut, the counter is like whatever. So she has a good side to her, and she has a bad side to her. Her tankiness, giving damage cut to the entire team, that's good. Everything else kind of not that great. And we have one last character, Kanoko. She's there. She's attack type, even though she has terrible attack. She's got a mushroom for a head. She's got these discs. She attacks enemies. She has got damage up on the connect, and she's got the charm on the connect. She's got damage up against random enemies, which is probably going to be damage up against 4 random enemies, probably on my level 5. She charms all enemies hits, which I think if this hits 4 enemies on level 5, or on uncapped 5, when she ever gets uncapped, and you're fighting against like 2 or 3 enemies, the chance that every single enemy gets charmed is actually pretty decent. So you can charm, like, if you're fighting against anything between 1 to 3 enemies, or at least currently when it only damages 3 enemies. If you fight anything like 1 or 2 enemies, this will probably charm all your enemies, which can be really nice. Enemies usually don't resist charm that easily. You've got charm on attack. The rest doesn't really matter too much. You can crit yourself and got damage up on yourself, which I guess if she actually had attack, which she doesn't really, this would be amazing, but she doesn't, so this actually doesn't do a whole lot. This is actually quite right. You probably already know Kanoko. She's got a mushroom for her head. She charms enemies quite a lot. You maybe play her in a team with Mummy, so that both Mummy and Kanoko can keep stunning enemies, applying charm, bind, and all that stuff, so enemies can't act. And she's quite alright doing that. She's quite alright charming enemies and helping other people charm enemies. Apart from that, she doesn't really do anything. And that's all I have to say about her. Her connect also charms all enemies, and this is stuff that she's designed. Outfits. It's Kanoko. These are like these. By the way, these are the stand users of JoJo Part 8. Not that many people have actually read Part 8 so far, so you don't even know if I'm wrong. But even if you've already read Part 8, and that's Part 9, you know. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and I'll see you guys next time.